faithfully conveying value, interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally Book Talk. Today, I'm going to interpret this book called The Black Sheep Effect. The Black Sheep Effect is a psychological trap where a group of good people bully one good person, while other good people stand by and do nothing. Each of us has experienced or witnessed the black sheep effect to some extent. For example, the classmate who's the heaviest, shortest, or worst at studies often becomes the target of ridicule. Similarly, in the workplace, the most introverted or less attractive person is often excluded by colleagues. And for this kind of ridicule and exclusion, bystanders often do nothing. What starts as minor conflicts between two people can unknowingly escalate into a group issue. Those who mock or exclude others aren't necessarily evil or intend to harm. Bystanders mean no harm either, but such events often cause significant psychological trauma to victims. Yet, looking back, no one can explain how the bullying started. The author of this book, Chen Jimkin, is a renowned chief psychiatrist from Taiwan with over 20 years of research on the black sheep effect. In this book, Chen Jimkin provides a deep and comprehensive analysis of how the black sheep effect occurs and how we can escape its influence to avoid hurting others or being hurt. Next, I'll explain this book from three aspects. First, what is the black sheep effect? Second, why do good people bully good people? Third, how should we deal with the black sheep effect in daily life? Let's start with the first aspect. What is the black sheep effect? As mentioned earlier, the black sheep effect is a psychological trap where a group of good people bully one good person while others watch. And its origin is often some trivial little things. For example, Xiaoli just joined a new company and had friction with an old colleague over minor disagreements. Zhao Li thought it would blow over quickly, but gradually, not only that old colleague, but others also became colder towards him, even targeting him. Some colleagues just watched coldly. Xiao Li became the target, unable to find anyone to support or help him. Brr! Brr! At this point, Xiao Li became a victim of the black sheep effect. The black sheep effect involves three parties. The black sheep is the victim, the one being bullied by everyone. The butcher is the perpetrator targeting the black sheep, and the white sheep are those indifferent bystanders who might witness the whole thing but take no action. And these participants aren't inherently evil people, yet they end up hurting innocent individuals. The black sheep effect is super common in everyday life. So, how can we tell if we're a victim of the black sheep effect? There are three criteria for judgment. First, the victim must be part of the group, not an outsider. For example, if you have a conflict with a client at work and get excluded by them, that's not the black sheep effect. Because you and the client don't belong to the same tight-knit group, and you're not expecting to blend into their company or become one of them. The second criterion, the black sheep effect isn't about bad folks bullying good folks. It's good people bullying good people. And it's a form of bullying. Bullying can come from malice, like when a group in the office gangs up on a colleague to fight for limited promotions. But sometimes bullies might not mean harm, like with the black sheep effect we're talking about here. For instance, in a company, a newbie and an old-timer disagree. The newbie suggests something, the old-timer says no, and turns out the old-timer was wrong. The old-timer feels embarrassed and starts hunting for excuses to prove their skills aren't the problem. In this mess, the newbie gets excluded and hurt, and some attackers are just jumping on the bandwagon, thinking since others did it, it's got to be okay. They don't realize their actions are actually hurting others. The third criterion, the victim has no clue why they're being attacked, and nobody can tell them exactly why for what they're going through. And so, in the black sheep effect, whether it's the attacker, victim, or bystander, no one knows what's going on. In the whole event, there's no real villain or motive, whereas victims of other bad stuff remember those traumas crystal clear. They might not want to recall or face it, but deep down, they know exactly what's causing their pain. Now that we've covered what the black sheep effect is, many folks might find it weird. Why do good people bully good people? That's what we're going to dive into. The second aspect, the author believes the black sheep effect happens mainly for two reasons: group anxiety and the personal psychological issues of the participants. Let's start with the first reason. The author believes group anxiety arises when members aren't familiar or trusting enough, internal competition is high, and open discussion is impossible, easily triggering the black sheep effect. Everyone experiences social anxiety when joining a new group. You feel uneasy, always worrying about not measuring up, while carefully trying to read others' thoughts. Once the whole group falls into this anxiety, a strange phenomenon occurs. On the surface, everyone seems harmonious, but closer observation reveals oversensitivity, excessive politeness, and forced friendliness. This actually indicates the group is under significant pressure. An anxious group must find an outlet to vent. Then, anyone making a small mistake or standing out, even unintentionally, may become the black sheep, the scapegoat. People vent their pressure on this common enemy, the black sheep. Through attacking the black sheep, the group develops shared identity, easing unfamiliarity and building friendships. The author notes these signs indicate excessive group pressure. First sign, underground communication channels, refusing open discussion while privately harboring resentment. Second sign, increased rumors. Psychologists say rumors emerge when members feel confused yet lack sufficient information to understand truth. For example, why did that new young colleague suddenly get promoted? Without public explanation from the boss, people speculate wildly. Rumor content matters less than the group lacking methods to resolve confusion or credible leadership. But third sign, factionalism. People form subgroups within the larger group to protect their interests. While factionalism isn't the black sheep effect itself, such divisions indicate lost trust, making groups more susceptible to it. Fourth sign, excessive people-pleasing between individuals. Generally, people are polite with others, but excessive friendliness or people-pleasing actually masks inner hostility. I think it's like saying, I know we don't get along, but we can coexist peacefully. This hidden tension in relationships is exactly the precursor to the black sheep effect. Group pressure might come from external factors like economic crises causing layoff fears, or internally from unfair ranking systems or mutual distrust. The second cause of the black sheep effect is individual psychological factors. Simply put, everyone wants to be seen as good, so they sacrifice the victim's minor interests to spare others' guilty consciences. Let's analyze the psychological states of perpetrators, bystanders, and victims separately. First, perpetrators, they crave being seen as good, maintaining a positive image. But when small mistakes threaten to make them the bad guy, they deeply reject this and shift blame onto others. The book gives an example. Psychiatrist Gia received an emergency call about a mentally ill patient threatening violence. This patient had prior treatment and was medicated. Police and ambulance arrived, checked records, and sent him to Dr. Gia's hospital. Dr. Gia reviewed the history and admitted him routinely. But during conversation, Dr. Gia discovered the violent one wasn't the patient, it was his sister. Both siblings actually had bipolar disorder. That day, the sister had threatened arson, forcing the brother to call police. But when police arrived, the sister showed them her brother's medical records, causing this mix-up. Now, Dr. Gia faced a dilemma. Exposing the truth could mean lawsuits for everyone involved: police, ER staff, doctors, nurses. Eventually, Dr. Gia convinced himself that the brother had indeed been diagnosed before, and given the situation, he had solid reasons to believe another episode occurred. So he issued a diagnosis recommending compulsory hospital treatment. Other participants didn't admit fault after learning the truth. Instead, they desperately tried proving they hadn't caught the wrong person, like police claiming the brother acted aggressively during arrest, or ER staff arguing, if he were normal, why didn't he defend himself? The author notes doctors, nurses, and police formed a temporary group bond through this wrongful admission. None intended malice, yet the brother became the innocent black sheep.
Their actions stemmed from two psychological traps: cognitive dissonance and groupthink or conformity.
First, cognitive dissonance. Normally, cognition drives behavior, like buying a shirt because you like it, but sometimes action precedes cognition, like live stream viewers, impulse buying regrettable items, then making excuses to avoid admitting mistakes. Many deny buying ill-fitting clothes, instead fixating on positives to justify their choice. In the black sheep effect, cognitive dissonance drives perpetrators to find flaws in victims, justifying their actions. The second trap, group consciousness and conformity. Perpetrators in the black sheep effect are often small groups, not individuals. They feel no guilt for their harmful acts. Since everyone's doing it, I can't be wrong. All right, having covered perpetrators, let's discuss bystanders. Though bystanders witness harm without acting, they're not evil. Seeing bullying actually troubles their conscience. They feel torn, compelled to protect victims yet powerless to intervene. This anxiety traps bystanders in two psychological pitfalls. The first pitfall is cognitive dissonance. Bystanders can't handle self-condemnation, so they shift blame to the victim. The most common justification: you must have done something wrong yourself, otherwise why would everyone target you?
The second bystander trap is the diffusion of responsibility effect, always assuming someone else will step in.
Psychologists found people don't help not from coldness or moral failure, but believing others will share the responsibility. Finally, let's examine victims in the black sheep effect. Victims become black sheep not because they're evil. They might have made minor mistakes or done nothing wrong, just circumstantial targets. The author suggests they might also have a good person mentality. Like at work, some propose ideas to improve things but cause friction. Others silently endure unfair treatment out of kindness. Ironically, such goodwill makes victims targets. Their kindness becomes ammunition for attackers. The more victims explain, the faker they seem. If they resist, attackers say, "See? Their true colors show." See? Finally revealing your true nature. The author notes, while anyone could be targeted, some are more vulnerable. He categorizes them into four types. First, those incompatible with mainstream group culture, e.g. in a dorm of northerners, the lone southerner with an accent becomes prime target. Second, visibly distinct individuals, like the heaviest or darkest skinned in a group. Third, those with strong personalities, introverted or quiet types, or overconfident or dominating talkers. Fourth, those underreacting or overreacting to group behaviors. For example, when layoff rumors spread and everyone anxiously discusses it. If you appear indifferent and don't participate, you're likely black sheep material. Now for the third aspect: how to handle the black sheep effect in daily life. The black sheep effect doesn't burst out instantly. It's a slow building process.
It unfolds in 4 stages: pre-black sheep phase, search phase, development phase, and impact phase.
Understanding these stages helps us take targeted countermeasures. In the first stage, pre-black sheep phase, the group faces mounting pressure, with tension and anxiety escalating internally. Then comes the search phase, where people hunt for a suitable scapegoat, someone to become the black sheep. Once the black sheep emerges, the search phase ends. Next is the third stage, development phase. With a target identified, the black sheep effect rapidly escalates. Group members join the attackers, relentlessly blaming the victim. Others, paralyzed by conflict, become bystanders. Once roles solidify, the development phase ends. The fourth stage, impact phase, extends from development. But unlike development, where attackers eagerly strike, in impact phase, the victim's resistance angers perpetrators. Chaos consumes the group. Members get easily provoked into attacking. Tackle the black sheep effect early. Better in development than impact. Better in search than development. Stopping it before the search phase is ideal. Different strategies apply to each phase. First, Reduce group pressure during pre-black sheep phase. As mentioned earlier, a group that can't develop healthily, with members distrusting each other, exhausts itself in conflict. To survive, such groups sacrifice individuals to protect the majority. Thus, the core solution is reducing group pressure. The author believes this falls mainly to group managers. Managers must clarify the real issue isn't malice or poor communication. It's the overwhelming pressure facing the entire group. They're simply channeling that pressure onto a black sheep. Everyone must brainstorm together to identify the root issue and solve it. Since the black sheep effect builds gradually, don't try solving everything at once. Start with achievable goals. For example, don't push perpetrators and victims to reconcile instantly as good colleagues or friends. Instead, have them stop attacks and negative comments first. Even if you're not a manager, you can raise awareness about this effect's dangers before it emerges. Like sharing books on the black sheep effect with colleagues or starting a book club. This spreads awareness while giving the group positive shared topics, reducing the effect's risk. During the search phase, learn to recognize if you're becoming a black sheep candidate. The perpetrators selecting victims involves complex elimination until one black sheep stands out. As mentioned, distinctive or nonconformist individuals are prime targets.
Two aspects help determine if you're becoming a candidate.
First, environmental changes, rising pressure, panic, or shifting social dynamics, like increasing rumors about you, acquaintances avoiding you, or outright attacks. Second, personal changes, e.g., unexplained tension in groups, avoiding activities, or feeling culturally alienated.
When these signs appear, strengthen team communication and seek support. Less support means higher targeting risk.
If socially limited, maintain group conformity even if disagreeing. Avoid opposition. In public, stay low-key. Don't become the nail that sticks out. While not foolproof, these methods warn you and reduce targeting risk. Finally, during development or impact phases, prioritize mental and physical management. If you become a victim, don't panic. The development phase is lengthy. You have time to strategize. At this stage, you shouldn't confront the perpetrators head-on, nor try to win them over to gain relief. Because once the black sheep effect kicks in, people become cold and heartless. They won't sympathize with you. Instead, they'll feel justified in humiliating you. At this point, you should focus more on yourself, manage your physical and mental health, and prevent psychological trauma from worsening. Specifically, you can do 3 things. First, don't blame yourself. Instead, treat the black sheep effect objectively. Victims of the black sheep effect easily fall into self-blame. They ask themselves, why me? Is there something wrong with me? But actually, the black sheep effect is just an extremely unique experience in your life. It's not the norm. And don't deny the beautiful side of life because of the black sheep effect. Try shifting your focus and spending less time in environments where it occurs. For example, spend more time with family and friends after work. Or move out of the school dorm. If things don't improve, you can choose to leave the group that's hurting you and focus on managing your well-being. The second thing is learning to manage negative emotions. Humans have an instinct to prioritize dangerous or significant information in the most active parts of the brain. Thus, the more painful the event, the harder it is to forget. That's why many people have a habit of negative thinking. And the solution is to awaken happy experiences and positive emotions. For instance, even if you're excluded at work, you attended your child's school sports day, both of you were happy, and your child praised you, saying, "Dad, you're awesome, yeah." Or you built a complex Lego set. The key is to find things that make you happy. Because to improve efficiency, our brains prioritize frequently used things while rarely used ones are sidelined. The more you recall happy things, the easier it is to set aside negative emotions. The third thing in managing well-being is to reinterpret painful experiences. The perspective you use to view the world shapes your state of mind. Therefore, to emerge from the shadow, victims must understand the entire black sheep event from a new perspective. seeking positive value in the painful experience. That's what we often call cognitive restructuring. Of course, this doesn't mean enjoying being bullied. It's about viewing yourself more holistically. Past experiences help you recognize that being bullied is just one part of your journey, not your whole life. For example, when a young person suffers depression due to the black sheep effect, instead of just saying, cheer up, guide them to recall positive moments during that period. Like, did anyone speak up for them, offer constructive advice? Maybe a puppy provided comfort. Finding joy in small things helps them see life isn't all dark and they're not worthless. The black sheep effect's impact is profound. Victims may become emotionally numb, anxious, confused, even develop physical symptoms like sleep disturbances, loss of appetite, social withdrawal, or in severe cases, physical paralysis. The author strongly advises seeking professional help, including therapy and medication when necessary. With that, we've covered the black sheep effect. Let me summarize the book's key points. Now, the black sheep effect is a psychological trap where good people bully one good person while others watch. It arises mainly from group anxiety and individual psychology, everyone wanting to be seen as good. Thus, sacrificing minor victim interests spares others guilty consciences. To counter it, reduce group pressure pre-phase, recognize candidacy during search phase, prioritize self-care during development or impact phases. All right, that concludes our interpretation of the black sheep effect. Reading notes are below the audio. See you tomorrow.